All right, so I'm in California and I've been on lockdown for about a week. I legitimately do not think I've left my house in the last 7 days, which for me isn't necessarily a problem. I work from home and my studio and guitar room, it's right here in my house. It's purpose built to do this, but not everybody is in that same situation. So I want to shoot a video on kind of the basics of what your options are for recording guitars at home. What you can do if you just have a guitar and an amp and that's what you normally have, and you now can't turn up the volume on that because you've got kids at home, it's too loud to do anything. Here are your options for what can be done. So here in my studio, I use Universal Audio Apollo interfaces. I'll put up a little B-roll here of what those look like, but this is to be honest, this is all overkill even for me. I have multiple different units so that it's all for workflow. So I have a volume control in a place that I want, and that I have enough inputs that I never really have to unplug anything if I wanted to mic a cabinet or bring something else in. But the basics of what you need in order to just play guitar or record guitar at reasonable volumes with or without an amplifier are kind of go as follows. So one, you need some kind of recording interface to bring this information into your computer. So again, this is assuming you're not just going to go plug straight into your guitar amp, turn up the volume and play. Obviously, if you have all that stuff at home, you can still do that. Amps still have volume knobs. But if what you want to do is do some tracking, you need a way to record your guitar itself. I always recommend that if you're going to do any kind of guitar recording that you track the DI, which is simply the guitar signal on its own. So it doesn't sound good when you track it, but you can take those tracks, run them through a plug-in later. You can actually take them back and shove them through an amp and play them back. I did a video a couple of days ago, I'll link right up here, where I was offering to reamp some guitar tracks. So if you have DI tracks and you want to send them to me, someone like myself who has a studio like this can reamp your guitars and provide them back to you. And all you have to do is legitimately just simply record that guitar track itself. So you take your guitar. I've got a cable laying around here somewhere. Actually, it's plugged into my amp over here, but I can take that. I can take that guitar, plug it straight into my interface through a high-Z input, and I can track into Logic or any DAW piece of software to just record the guitar track. Now, another option is if you want to still pass through and you want to hear your amp while you are tracking these DIs, so you have something to actually hear, and you don't necessarily need to buy a plugin, which I'll talk about here a little bit later. You can buy a DI box with the pass-through, and so this is an example of a Palmer DI box. I think these run like $89. It's something super simple. And all I do is you plug your guitar here into this input, wait for the autofocus. Running the new Sony camera, God, the autofocus is so much better. So I run it through the input here, and I can run this pass-through out to a guitar amp, and then I simply just take the XLR out here and shove that right to my interface. So if I don't want to use a plugin, I don't want to invest anything else, I have an interface, and I don't want to spend money on a plugin to hear it, you can buy a very inexpensive DI box and still track your DIs. And it doesn't matter what volume your amp is at, all it's tracking is your guitar itself. Now, let's assume you've got your guitar plugged into your interface. You have a ton of different options for if you wanted to go, what I refer to as silent recording, meaning you don't have an amp, you're not using anything, you take the DI from your interface, and you can run that straight into a computer. There are tons of good plugins that are out there. There are free ones that are available. There are free DAW software that is available. You do not have to spend a dime during this crazy period of time to be able to track guitars and get a decent sound. Now, obviously, a lot of times with software, you get what you pay for. So having, spending a little money on a plugin, my recommendation is if this is your first go around, is to go for something pretty versatile. And most of these plugin companies have free trials. So if you want to leave me comments asking me questions about what my favorite plugins are, go ahead and do that. The two that quickly come to mind that are available today, hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to talk to you about something out that is coming shortly that I have been in the works helping create from a plugin perspective. But the Nolly and Polini plugins from Neural DSP both have clean tones and dirty tones and kind of run the gamut. The one I use most often right now is the Plini one, just because it does have this great hi-fi clean sound, and it has a super nasty dirty sound, and I don't have to switch in between them. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Omega Ampworks plugin from Neural DSP, just with how much I love Omega Ampworks stuff in general. But once you have your DI running into your DAW software, I use Logic Pro. You can use Reaper. There are all kinds of freeware options out there. I think Studio One makes a super basic edition as well. You can then insert one of these plugins and use your computer monitors, computer speakers. Again, if you have a set of headphones laying around, you can simply take some headphones. Those are actually plugged into my interface right now, hence the cord struggle right there. You can play silently. You're not going to be bothering your wife, your kids, your husband, the dogs. My cats are fairly tolerant of my terrible guitar playing personally. But there are all kinds of options that if you are in your bedroom, stuck playing guitar from the kitchen table. Like I said, I'm super fortunate that I have a home office set up that is purpose built for me to play guitar and work on a day in and day out basis. So the two main things again are picking an interface, and interfaces are dirt cheap these days. You can buy a Focusrite Solo or an Audient ID4. These are both options that are under $200, or should be under $200. That you can buy, and with those two things alone and free software that's available on the internet, you can play guitar at home during this crazy time. So again, I will go ahead and plug my own video for the reamps that I'm willing to do right now during this crazy time. Now, again, I don't run a side business. My intent is to not make money on this. My intent is to drive engagement with my YouTube channel and to build a community around this. That's really all I'm looking to do. So up here I will link again to that video where if you go and record your DI tracks and you don't like the free plugin that you have, I will run them through plugins that I own and ship you the tracks back. If you want to play guitar and you want to hear what it sounds like through an Omega Obsidian or a Rev F dual rectifier, or you can see back there I got new to me Rare Morgan PX50. If you want to hear what you sound like through one of those amps, please reach out, leave me a comment, or hit me up on my contact form on my website. So I just wanted to do a quick video and talk through, these are the basics of what you can do. If you're just used to play your guitar, plug it into a pedal board, plug it into an amp and go, and you're not familiar with the world of digital plugins and things like that, these are options that you have. So for building your quarantine rig, your lockdown rig, whatever you want to call it, you don't need very much at all. You need an interface and or a DI box to take these and plug them in so you can record DI tracks and focus on being creative. There's also a ton of free things like drum machine programs that you can load into these free DAWs. And again, I won't go into the depths and details on all those product names. There are a million YouTube videos that are out there. But if you have questions about what I've done in my studio from a workflow perspective, or if you're looking for recommendations on interfaces or DI boxes, please leave me a comment. Find me on social media. I'm always happy to chat about what I'm doing. I hope this video has been informational and helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you really, really soon. So Hope everybody is happy and healthy, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out on that. Whoa, you made it all the way to the end of this video. If you like what you saw here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Click the bell icon so you can be notified about new videos that I post. And please engage with me on social media. Links to everywhere you can find me are listed right here on the page. Thank you again for your support and just watching my video.